Brothers and sisters in Jesus. We have entered in the second week of Advent. The time to prepare ourselves to welcome the Messiah. But this holy season where the soul celebrate, we are called in a special manner to be filled with the power of the Word of God at the same time to change ourselves. But when we look into our daily life, we all know whom we like most. Very often, when we come back to the Holy Eucharist, we like the priest who celebrate the Mass, a short Mass, the one who preaches only maybe 5 minutes or 7 minutes, not more than a lengthy one. So we like those people because we can finish the Mass very fast and we can go. That's our plan very often we have in our mind. Longer masses or the speeches we don't like because we have to go. There are many things to be done. That is one thing. And secondly, when we come back to our family prayers too, if during our prayer we feel tired, we are yawning, or we feel sleepy, or we try to take a comfortable posture, that also we try our level best to finish it very fast. A sort of tiredness, a sort of what we call the indifference, very often we feel. But on the other hand, if there is a TV program with the celebrities or a musical concert or something there, or the cricket, we will spend hours and hours, even at midnight. If there is no tired, we are so much enthusiastic and we are one with that. And we enjoy maximum the hours. All those celebrations, it's the tendency very often that we have in our own very life. Why it is? We have to understand why it is happening. It is a natural tendency. It is not a fault of one or two persons. Generally it happens. What is the reason behind it? There are two reasons. One is that we are lacking the God experience. And the second reason is that we are lacking the personal relationship with God. We are lacking the experience, and secondly, we are lacking the personal experience or personal relationship with God. When we come back to our human relationship, there are many people whom we love most. There are many intimate friends we have. What is our attitude? We like to be with them even days, hours and hours and days. We like to be with them because we like to hear them. If it is an opposite one, then finished. We will spend many days because we like to be with them. We enjoy their presence. We enjoy their conversation. Why? We have a personal experience. At the same time, we have a personal relationship with those people. So we like to be with them. The same is God experience if there is in us. And if we have the same personal relationship with God, we too will sit with Him. Otherwise, everything that is happening in our life will be boring. We won't be able to listen. We won't be able to sit. We will look at the watch and we will try our level best when it is going to be finished. That will be our focus, concentration, not anything else. Because why? We are lacking the God experience. At the same time, personal relationship with God is missing. In the Gospel of today, Gospel of Saint Luke is putting us forward three things. How we can have these two things. God experience, at the same time the personal relationship. Three things are being said about John the Baptist. The first thing is that he went into the desert. Secondly, it is being said the word of God came upon him. Third one is that he went ahead in preaching the word of God. So when we analyze the first part, he went into the desert. Desert has a spirituality because desert is a place where many characters in the Old Testament encountered God. Or in another way, desert is a place where God intervened in the life of many people. When we look into the people of Israel, 40 years they have experienced God. And God was with them in the form of the pillar of the cloud and pillar of the fire. It was in the forefront of the people of Israel. So they experienced the closeness of God. And they experienced how powerful God is. And they have experienced God in the form of manna, in the form of water when they were thirsty. At the same time, they have experienced day and night God just like a protection, and at the same time the guidance, or above all, they realized the care of God throughout these 40 years. God became the part of their life. They experienced God, at the same time they had a personal relationship. But in spite of all that, we have seen at the end, they went behind the idols, worshipping the idols. They rejected God and they went again behind the idols. But the God, the one who is caring, again brought them back again to his own mercy and compassion. That's why we have heard in the responsorial psalm today, what marvelous God worked for us. Indeed, we were glad. That means, though they have rejected God, still God went behind them. That means, desert was the place where the people had a personal relationship with God. So when we think about John the Baptist, when he went into the desert, means he was having a personal relationship with God. He was with God. His whole of his life was focused on God. The season of Advent is a time where we are being invited and called to have this desert experience. That means be with God, be focused on God. Then secondly, what is the advantage if we are being focused on God? That's what happened in the second part in the life of the John the Baptist. The word of God came upon him. So when we are being focused before God, when we sit attuned with God, God will speak to us. The word of God will come upon us. There we will be strengthened. There we will be encouraged. We will realize the one, or listen, the one who speaks to us. Season of Advent, we have to be tuned to listen to the voice of God. John the Baptist, when the word of God came to him, he realized what is his mission. When we look into the whole of the Old Testament and the New Testament, there we have seen in which all the people the word of God was came upon them, they were entirely changed. For example, Abraham. He became the father of the faith when he experienced the word of God. When he had the desert experience in his own life, the God experience in his own life, when the word of God came upon him, Abraham became the father of the faith. Again, the word of God came upon Moses, he became a great leader. And King David, when he experienced the closeness of God, he became a good warrior, a mighty warrior. Then again we see the King Solomon. When he was focused towards God, when he was ready enough to accept the word of God, he became the man who was filled with wisdom. Then Saul is being transformed into Saint Paul. When he accepted and when he experienced that God in his own life, Saul became Saint Paul. So these are the miracles that happened in the life of those people, and these are the miracles that has to happen in our own very life. When we are focused on God and when the word of God come upon us, this is a transformation that have to take place in us. We have been hearing the word of God all these years. This is a moment, the season of Advent, the second week, we have to ask, what does change made in me? We have been listening to the word of God for many years. Even today also we have heard the 3 readings. What change have I made in my life? This word of God has made a powerfully changed many people. Even their personal life are being changed. And they became a powerful instrument in the hands of God. This is a miracle that should happen. We have to ask ourselves, what miracle is happening in me? What change is taking place in me? Then thirdly, we have found in the life of Saint John the Baptist, he was focused before God, word of God came upon him. Thirdly, he went out from the desert to the people to proclaim the word of God. He was ready enough to speak that God experience to someone else. That's why with that God experience, he came to the people and said, change your way. Make your path straight. There are many winding ways in you. Make it straight. There are many valleys in your life. Fill it. There are many mountains in your life. Level it. Why? He couldn't keep quiet. When that God experience has come and when that became something personal of his own life, He came out. He couldn't keep quiet. He proclaimed the word of God to every people. Prepare the way for the coming of the Messiah. Season of Advent, we have to make the same miracle in our life. We have to preach ourselves. We need not to go all the streets of this Dubai and proclaim the word of God. No, we have to preach ourselves, which are the ways that are not straightened in me, which are the winding ways that are existing in me, which are the valleys that are remaining in my life, which are the mountains that are remaining in my own way, personal life. Find it out and level it. Prepare the way for the coming of the Messiah, so that the coming of the Messiah has to become a personal experience of our life. And the word of God has to something to be existing in our own very life. Then we can say we are prepared enough to welcome the Messiah into our own life. Just recall the words of the Alexander Pope. Jesus may be born in thousands of crypts in all over the world, but if he is not reborn in our own very life, our life is nothing. The birth of Jesus is nothing for us. Thus, we are in the second week of season of Advent. Let us ask ourselves where we are. Am I focused towards God? If the word of God has any place in me, or am I proclaiming that word of God into myself? Am I ready enough to change my ways so that I may welcome the Messiah into our own very life? Let us ask ourselves, am I ready? If not, let us prepare ourselves. God has given us one more day. This day can be the last day in our life. So this may be the day that God has given to us, the given day. Let us look into ourselves so that we may prepare the way for the coming of the Messiah.